So in the previous class, we have studied about the CIS concept and what do you mean by the CIS and how CIS play an important role for the purpose of information security. So information security is basically a subfield of cryptography subject. So information security can also be subdivided into different kinds of category like cryptography, watermarking, and steganography. So in all the three categories, we are focused to study about the cryptography only. So what is the basic objective of information security in terms of cryptography? We are going to study in this subject. This is the unit number 4 content. So let's start with the content. We have in earlier class we have studied about CIA, that is confidentiality, integrity and availability of the information security content. So what are the other things that is comes under the information security? One term that is used is called non-repudiation. The meaning of non-repudiation here is that it's only one party cannot deny receiving a message or a transactions, nor can the other party deny sending a message or a transactions. Non-repudiation is simply a term which is related with the sending and receiving of the message. In cryptography or in communication, two parties are involved. One is called sender, another is called receiver. And in non-repudiation, the major thing is that one party cannot deny receiving a message. It means the person who are sitting at the receiving end cannot deny that I don't want to receive a message. Similarly, a person who are sitting in the sender end can also not deny that I don't want to send any message. That is called the non-repudiation. So this is a term which represents the agreement of a person who can be sender or who can be the receiver, and the major thing is that both the party cannot deny their task whether it is sending or receiving. So it is called the non-repudiation. For example, in cryptography now, here you can see the non-repudiation concept. For example, in cryptography, it is sufficient to show that message matches the digital signature signed with the sender private key, and that sender could have sent a message and nobody else could have altered it in transit. So basically, non-repudiation can be seen where digital signature is involved. If anybody having the genuine signature, then that party is ready to do their task. Either it can be sending or it can be receiving of the message. So data integrity and authenticity are prerequisites for non-repudiation. Non-repudiation is basically the task that will be performed by the sender and the receiver. And in order to do that task, you have to ensure two things, like first is called data integrity and another is called the authenticity. Now the word integrity is basically terms which relates the consistency of the message, that whatever message we are going to send will be the same replica received by the receiver. And authenticity is basically a kind of properties of any message which represent that yes, it is sent by some authorized party, and yes, it is the authorized content that is being sent by the sender. Now, authenticity is also a means of verifying that users are who they say they are, and that each input arriving at destination is from a trusted source. It means, suppose we want to receive a message from the principal of any NIT college, then it should be the principal of NIT college, and whatever the message you have received should be sent by the authorized ID of the NIT professors, NIT principals, with the official domain ID along with that mail ID. So this is a kind of example which represent the authenticity, that yes, that message, whatever we have received, should be sent by a person who is authorized one. And also, in order to justify, in order to verify its authenticity, we need to verify it using their mail ID, that yes, it is coming from the authorized mail ID. So this is called the authenticity kind of example. This principle, if followed, guarantee are valid and genuine message received from a trusted source through a valid transmissions. It means that when both the properties will be held during the transmission, then yes, we can say that authenticity will stand there in terms of information security point of view. Now the next property is called the accountability. Accountability means that it should be possible to trace actions of an entity uniquely to that entity. It means that, for example, you are going to appear in any placement written test, and in that written test, you need to verify that you are the person who belongs to the this institute, and you have to verify the accountability in terms of your integrity, your authenticity, that yes, you are the right person, you are the right candidate who are applying for the campus written test. So in order to trace the authenticity, accountability, there are possible traces. Now, what will be the possible traces? You should have the meeting ID of the written test first. Second, you will be the registered candidate. Third, you should have the ID and password that will be given by the company authorized person, that yes, you are invited in this written test. So these all traces will decide your accountability. Okay. For example, as discussed in integrity section, not every employee should be allowed to do changes in other employee data. Now, integrity, in the previous example, we have discussed something about related to the employee data updation in the website, and the authorized person is only can change the data. For this, there is a separate department in an organization that is responsible for making such changes. And when they receive request for a change, then that letter must be signed by the higher authority, for example, director of the college, and the person that is allotted that change will be able to do changes after verifying his biometrics, timestamps with the user, and detail that will be get recorded. Now, let me explain this in a very simpler term. In the previous slide, we want to maintain the integrity of the message, and in order to maintain the non-repetition, you should maintain the data integrity and the authenticity as well. Now, in the previous example we have taken, we want to update some employee record in authorized in the official website of any company. So what will be the procedure? What will be the process in order to change that, and how you will justify your accountability that yes, you can change it? In order to do that, first of all, you should have proper rights that yes, you are the website update person, you can update the website. In order to update that data, you should have something in the written from the upper management that yes, we want these changes to be reflected on our website from right away. So how you are going to justify, how you are going to verify that? First of all, you should have the proper letterhead where the details should be written that this person will not be continuing this institute, so that you can change it. So this will be the possible traces that will decide the authorized accountability of the data. So similarly, when you working in a company, when you got job, in a same manner, how somebody will recognize that you are the person who has just joined this institute? So it will be recognized by your offer letter, where your employee ID should be written, and in that employee ID you can generate a password, and after generating a password, that is temporary one, you have to generate the permanent password, and after that you can access that ERP system. Without that, without generating that password, you are not able to join that official web server. So this all will represent the accountability and many more things. Now, in the coming topic, we will going to study about the cyber security and the information security, and what is the basic minute difference between the cyber security and the information security. As cyber security and the information security are closely linked, that they may seem synonyms, and unfortunately they are used simultaneously. It means both the terms are related to each other in many manners. Now, basically, the cyber security is the practice of protecting the data from outside the resources on the internet. In the cyber world, if you want to maintain the cyber security, then you need to protect some information protection of the data, and it will comes under the cyber security. While in terms of information security, it is all about protecting the information from an unauthorized user, a user that is not authorized one, who is not having ID and the password. And in order to provide the information security, you will definitely not going to provide the access to the server, to the data, and also you will not provide access to the data modification, like insertion, deletion, updation, and removal of the data. That's why when you do all these things, definitely you will going to maintain CIA, that is confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the information security. So this is all about the cyber security and information security. And I think in the slide you can see some diagram. In this diagram you can see that information, digital information, and the information security, and the information and the other things of the information, both the things will make a set that is called digital information. And the information security is basically comes under the cyber security and information security, and both the things are having a subset that is called digital information. It means that both the things will going to use the concept of digital information in order to provide the security. So cyber security will definitely contain the information and the other things than information. It means it can be anything like whatever data you want to access in the web server will, and that web server ID, password, credential mechanism will definitely comes under the cyber security, but it is not exactly the cyber security. Now, what is exactly the cyber security in terms of information security is that in information security, you need to give some authority to the anonymous user, who should have the ID and the password, is only the intended person who can access the given information. So basically, information security and cyber security combo will make digital information a wonderful platform in order to provide the ICT security and the other information. So this is the diagram where you can see that how information security and the cyber security both will play the role in order to perform, in order to provide the valuable information from the internet at any time, at any place. This diagram will also represent some analogy related to the information and the cyber security. So here you can see that some hardware will be involved, some software will be involved, and in order to do that, some communication should also be involved, like integrity, availability, and the confidentiality, that is CIA. So any person who is having some credentials can be the part of information and cyber security communication. So in this, basically ICT refers for the information and the communication technology, ICT, which is an extensional term for information technology that define the role of unified communication and the integration of. So this is the diagram all about. Now, what kind of attacks are possible in terms of cyber security? The types of attacks, like where network delivered threats that are typically of two basic types. So this will be the new topic of your CIS, that what are the different types of possible attacks that are possible in cyber security or in information security world. So I think we have studied all these kind of attack previously. One is called the passive network threats and active network threats. Now, what do you mean by the passive and the active? Passive is simply a person who is not the authorized one in the communication channel. And definitely active one, it means some active persons will be involved. Let's see what the passive network threats. Activities such as wiretapping and ideal scans that are designed to intercept traffic traveling through the network. That is called passive attack. And the active network threats means activities such as denial of service. Denial of service, I think we have studied. And the SQL injection attack, it means the attack which is made on the database where the attacker is attempted to execute commands to disrupt the network normal operation. So in this SQL injection attack, as you all know, the full form of SQL, that is sequential query language attack, it means this attack will involve the updation in the database commands, in the execution of the database command, so that your overall system will not going to work in a smooth manner. Some distinguish different network attacks from several other types of attacks. One is called endpoint attacks, gaining unauthorized access to user devices, servers, and the other endpoints. Now, endpoints will represent like your tablets, your mobile device, your laptops. These all are the endpoints when you are running the Wi-Fi system. So, gaining unauthorized access to the user devices, servers, and other endpoints, typically compromising them by infecting them with the malware. It means the endpoint attacks will definitely involve some kinds of executions of the exe file at the dead end of the devices so that they will not work at all. Malware attack, malware, viruses, all are the kind of system that will represent some virus kind of attack like exe execution. Malware attack infecting IT resources with malware, allowing attackers to compromise systems, steal data, and do damage. Like I think 2007, Windows XP 2007 is now not giving any updates, and I think in before 2 to 3 years some attacks is there because due to not availability of the updates, that operating system will get hacked by many hackers, and that affect the ATM working of many banking systems. So the malware attack is basically attack that's goal is just to infect the system, just to infect the working of the system so that it will not work at all. And the main concept behind attacking those systems is to steal the data, just to capture the data, whatever information is going on, like in our banking transaction, our password can be hacked, like in credit debit card transactions, our debit card, credit card numbers, and some ID password can be hacked in order to access the data, in order to access the amount of your account in their account. So vulnerabilities, exploits, and attacks. Exploiting vulnerabilities in software used in on the organization to gain unauthorized access, compromises, or the sabotage system. Now the vulnerabilities, it means basically your system is not at all vulnerable to do the things to stand up when the attack happens. Your password ID will cracked easily. Advanced persistence threats, these are the complex multi-layer threats which include network attack but also other types attack type. Now the network attack is basically a kind of attack which will included many connected autonomous systems which are working in that network. All the system will get hacked at that point. This is called the advanced persistent threat. So this is all what we have studied today.